last session we have seen the isopolyacids and polyacids, and here there is some information about the sulfur and how it forms bonds. Okay, it forms a variety of covalent binary nitrides. Okay, binary nitrides. I think by binary nitride means I think you know very well about that. The binary compound. So the most interesting ones are tetrasulfur nitride, S4N4, and disulfur nitride. So these two are there in your syllabus because they are precursors to unusual polymer called polythiazine. Precursor means it's a beginning product. Okay, to begin a product preparation. Okay, these are required. A product preparation, these are required. Okay, so this polymeric sulfur nitride is unusual because even though it is composed solely of two nonmetals, sulfur and nitrate, it exhibits properties associated with metals. So this is supposed to have some properties of the metals. The best preparation of S4N4 involves bubbling, that is passing NH3 into heated 50 degrees C of that solution containing S2Cl2 dissolved in CCl4 or C6H6, and the equation is given here. 6S2Cl2 plus 16NH3 gives S4N4. So this is a very important equation for you. You ought to remember this. Tetrasulfur nitride forms thermochromic crystals. It's a kind of colored crystal which is formed only after heating, which are crystals that change color. They change the color with temperature. So it's a very beautiful property. That is, the changing of the color with temperature is called as the thermochromic. Chrome means color, you know very well. They are red at temperatures above 100 degrees C. So, and orange at 25 degrees C, and colorless at about minus 190 degrees C. So it's a very extremely low temperature. The crystals are stable in air but will explode in response to shock and friction. So they are explosive, that is when you just rub them. The compound has a cage structure. So keep in mind we are going to see this cage structure probably here with a plane of 4 nitrogen atoms with 2 sulfur atoms above and below the plane. So there is a plane and sulfur and nitrogen atoms are above and below the plane. So as S4N4 vapor is pumped through silver wool at 250 to 300 degrees C and low pressure of about 1 millimeter of mercury column and a stable dimer of S2N2 can condense. This compound has an essentially square structure with alternating sulfur and nitrogen atoms. So again, this is also an important part of the compound. This is S4N4 and this is S2N2. Like S4N4, it is sensitive to shock and can explode when heated with temperatures higher than 30 degrees C. So note this temperature. So this is when you explode, this is when you rub it and when you just do not take care of the friction. So at 25 degrees C, S2N2 slowly polymerizes through a ring opening mechanism to polythiazide compound, and this is a amazing material, has a bronze color and a metallic luster. And this gives rise to the electrical and thermal conductivity of metal and becomes a superconductor at 0.26 Kelvin. So this is very essential part of it. So not I'm going to give the equation is to be written, and then here is again the equation of S4 sulfur, tetrasulfur tetranitride. So how do you start? You give S2Cl2 in NH4Cl, you get S4N4 and S sulfur. It's a kind of allotrope, and 16HCl, and it has a cage-like structure. Look at how this cage is formed. So there are so this is N, yes, and N, yes, and N, yes, and yes. So look at this. It goes like this. These are the actual bonds like this, and then here there is a bending, and then there is also bending here. So these two bendings are similar almost, right? So they go again below like this, and there is a kind of non-covalent interaction between this sulfur and this sulfur. So it has to be written like a dotted line because this is not a bond. This is not a bond. And the distance is about 25.8 nanometers. It's a very large distance there. So look at this. This is about 16 nanometers, and this angle is also given to about 9. So it has a cage-like structure and stable to air intense to inert and hammering or in kind of in during the friction there. So you have to draw the structure. Note down these points there: 162, 258, and also this 113. These are the three things that have been proved by X-ray crystallographic studies. And then this equation is very important. There you can see that 6s2Cl2 plus 16s3 gives S4N4 Si plus 2N4Cl. So both are the same equations, but the number is getting varied. Okay, so the next structure that we are going to see is the preparation of S2N2 disulfide nitride. So it is decomposed from S4N4 to give Ag2S plus 2N2, and this Ag2S plus S4N4 again gives rise to 2S2N. This structure is given like this square structure, complete structure. They also tend to detonate, and we have seen them this. So these two S4N4 and S4N4 and S2N2 both give rise to this polythiazide. This is the compound that we are going to see there. So it has got a structure like this one. So it has got a polymer structure going like this. You need to draw this structure there. So it is prepared by SN2 restriction at room temperature, and this is the equation there. So you can take any x by 2, you get x times. So at base it is 4 by 2 means it is 2 times SN2 you get. It's a planar parallel chain, alternate signals and double bond. So here you signal and double bond, single and double bond there. And this is something in between these two. We're going to see the structure of this later in this same session. And the covalent polymer with metallic properties forms lustrous crystals. So this is important. Covalent polymer with metallic properties form lustrous crystals. Chemically inert explosive when compressed electrode efficiency of solar cell can increase. So that's another point there. And look at this structure, non-bonding this polysulfur structure, double bond, and then it should actually be, I think we should have, okay. In the previous case we saw alternate double bonds and single bond, but still the hypervalency of sulfur is not allowing, there is migration of the bond, that is why we put a double bond there. So this bond migrates there and this leaves is a single bond there, and probably it is conjugating there. So this is the reaction, it polymerizes to give polysulfur nitrate. We have this plus, okay, 2Na2SO4, it's a metallic superconductor. So you need to draw a structure just like this. And then put S and N here. S, N, S, N. Remember to put trivalent for nitrogen and tetravalent for sulfur. So that way you can satisfy the valency and have a look at the structure. And the variation of the conjugation can result in electrical conductivity. So this is the measured structure there. This is the actual NN distance is about comes to about 2.576. This is to this. This is the degree there 119, and this is the bond length. SN bond length is greater than any CC bond length there you can see. That is it's almost 1.56 angstrom. So it is greater than that 1.628. Here it is 1.593 less than that. So that maybe it may be double bond character. This is having a double bond character. This is having single bond character. This is double bond character. Bond lengths are determined by X-ray diffraction. So a brief study of that is also there. So look at this S4N4 structure there. I think we have seen this angle. and this has a 1.62 nanometers. 1.62 nanometers. So this is given in picometers there. 1.62 angstrom, sorry, 1.62 angstrom or 16 nanometers. So you got this sulfur there. This is sulfur and this is sulfur. This is also sulfur and this is also sulfur. So you have to draw it first. You draw four atoms like this, just like this. Okay. After drawing, join. Uh, Remember to draw two bonds in between like this. Here one and another one just above this, and then likewise here one and then just above this. Okay. Now you're joining them by this one. And this is just a non-covalent interaction that is existing there. And this is also, this is just a, this doesn't, that doesn't exist. The sulfur sulfur non-covalent interaction is there. Okay, so this is getting polymerized into this nitrogen and sulfur bonds. So you can see that this is a pi bond there. There is a pi bond here, and that is the pi bond of the atomic orbital. And look at this, one single electron there, and two paired electrons there in this. So if you draw the structure of the sulfur and nitrogen atoms, you can see that. Well, here you are. This is the structure that I just wanted to discuss. So upon it, now you can see that there are the lone pair of electrons over the nitrogen and sulfur atoms. Where there are two lone pairs over the sulfur atoms, there is a single bond there, and where there is a single lone pair, there is a double bond there. So you can see this here. Mm, there are two lone pairs there, and this two lone pair is surrounded by two single bonds there. But if you have only one lone pair, it is surrounded by one double bond here and another double bond here. These electrons are being put into the orbitals, exact orbitals like this. So in the sulfur, if you have the last sulfur there, as a resonating structure. The resonating structure, you can see that it is getting a negative charge as well as plus charge, and then again the sulfur is getting a positive charge as well as the negative charge there. So sulfur can exist as a hypervalent atom, therefore it can be neutral here. So it is neutral here. Sulfur is neutral here. It is anion there. So this is an anion, and this is a cation. This one. So this is a cation. So you can visualize it by means of the structure there. A sulfur atom having paired electron system and another paired electron system followed by one unpaired electron in a single orbital. So this can just keep moving from, because of the symmetry of this orbital, this sulfur and this sulfur orbital. This can simply uh, go to the pairing because they are pi orbitals. Here what happens is this and this get paired, and this electron comes out, that is comes up as a single orbital, a single electron that is given there. And the same thing is happening with this one as well as this one. If there is another orbital here like this and it is also getting paired like this, then it's getting this one. So this can go up, pairing up with this, and then change its spin and pair with this. Okay, but lone pairs usually they don't change pair. Here this is a lone pair. So a lone pair is represented only by these two electrons like this, and a paired electron just like this. Here if you have paired electrons, the paired electrons are involved in the pi bonding. The non-paired electrons, the non-lone paired electrons, they are not involved in it, but they remain as such. But if they have the same symmetry as that of the double bond, they can just overlap and give rise to this that bonding structure. So what I want to say here is that the structure, is a crystalline compound was been studied by X-ray diffraction, and it shows alternating S and bond lengths of about 1.59 angstrom to 1.63, 1.59 to 1.63 angstrom units. This is an important point that you need to remember there. And the bond angle SNS is about 120 and NSN is 106. SNS is, where is SNS? Is 120 and NSN is about 106. So these two things are also important for you to remember. And just remember to write the orbitals. Forget about this, and you just put 3 electrons there. Because you have put an electron there, there is no double bond here. If you put the double bond here, you can remove this one electron there. Remove this electron and put a double bond there. Okay, so it's a very good conducting polymer. It's a very good conducting polymer. That is why preparation of polysulfur nitrate is given very essential thing. But you got very less thing about that. You just write the polyethyl is synthesized by polymerization of a dimer sulfur nitrate, which is in turn synthesis from cyclic alternating tetrasulfur tetranitride. Okay, so S4N4 to S2N2 and then polythiazine. Polythiazine is a conducting polymer, and it changes color at different temperatures. Due to its electrical conductivity, it is used in LEDs, LEDs and electrodes, and even in case of the transistors and solar cells, they are used. Transistors and solar cells. Okay, so I'll give this description of this in the description section of the YouTube video. You can just copy them. But before we go, here is a look at some other class of the compounds that is not there in your syllabus. P4S3 is a beautiful tetrahedral type compound there. You can see that it's having a trigonal base and having 1, 2, 3, 4 faces there. 4 faces are there, but each is having PSP bond there, and that is P4S3. Sometimes this P4S3 is asked in NMR spectra to predict how this P is there. So you can just take up the P. There will be 2 NMR signals if you want to conclude. Because this P is surrounded by one P and one S, there will be interaction with PP and the split in the peaks will be there. And this P is alone, therefore there is no split in the peak, and you will see a single line in the P31 NMR. This P31 will also be is alone. This is coupling with this P, so therefore you will have a split and you will get a doublet and a triplet depending on that. So likewise, this structure of P4S10 is also there, and it may not be asked in yours. It may not be asked, but just sulfur phosphorus compounds. It has got tetrahedral array of P atoms. So it is prepared like this, and most stable sulfide P used in match industry for you know very well how it catches fire while getting a friction. Then P4S10 is also having a tetrahedral layer of P atoms. It is prepared by this way and is sensitive to moisture like hypophosphoric acid. It is called as a lysine agent, is a thioneting agent in organic synthesis. So this is used in organic synthesis and this is used in match industry. Okay, so I think we have just seen about the structure of this. If you have any doubt, please revert back to me. Please find the notes in the description section of the YouTube. Thank you for joining me.